doubt you've heard about presence. You've heard something about it, and maybe you wonder how you can have more of it. Perhaps you've met people who seem to be present, seem to have a presence, and you wonder, what is it about them? And you look around, and some of the guidelines that you find about presence have to do with external things like body language, how you move, the words you say, whether you smile or not, or how quickly you smile, things like that. But those are at best just external manifestations of presence. The real difference of what makes a person present or not, or what makes a person have presence, is inward. It's how they are, or how you are, within yourself. And there are a good number of elements to this, although in the end it becomes quite simple. But let's talk about what some of the elements are. The first element of presence is to be in contact with your body, to be in your body, here and now. That's the great thing about the body in terms of whether you're here and now or not, because the body is always here and now. Your body doesn't think. It's not planning. It's not visualizing tomorrow, imagining yesterday, ruminating about what happened 2 months ago. Your body's just here, being alive, breathing, your heart beating, just being. So, being in our body is this great way toward presence, which after all means being here and now, at least in part. That's what it means. So you might feel, well, I'm in my body all the time. Where else would I be? Well, it's a question of attention. Where is your attention? Where is your awareness? So if we're thinking, or to put it more accurately, if there are thoughts going on in us, say about yesterday, what happened yesterday, this big thing that happened yesterday. And our attention is in that stream of automatic thoughts. Then we're yesterday. We're in yesterday. We're not here. We're not here in this moment now. We're not in our body. We've forgotten about our body. We're not in contact with it. We don't have a visceral feeling of being in our body. Same thing if we're anxious about tomorrow or making a plan about later this afternoon, imagining what's going to happen then, what we're going to do then. Again, we're not here in our body. Now, being in our body, being in contact with our body, doesn't mean we can't make plans or can't consider what happened yesterday or go over some of our memories. But we do it from being in our body. That's the key thing here. Being aware of our body viscerally, right here, right now. And the more of it, the more of your body you're able to be in contact with, the stronger your presence is going to be. So let's say I'm in contact with my right hand right now. Maybe you could try that if you're someplace where it's safe for you to focus your attention on your hand. For example, not while conducting brain surgery or driving a bus. So, in my right hand, the tension in my right hand. And as I hold my attention in my hand, the hand becomes more alive. I become in contact with my hand directly. It's not a question of thinking about my hand, visualizing the hand. It's about having my attention there so I experience my hand from within it. And then I notice the difference of my experience of my hand, my right hand, versus my experience in this moment of my left hand. The right is more alive, vibrating with aliveness. The left is there, but not quite as richly alive as my right. We call this sensation or sensing our right hand. And the idea is to sense our hand, sense our feet, our both hands, our arms, our legs, our torso, without focusing on particular inner organs so as not to interfere with the working of our liver or our heart or such. But generally in our torso and then our head. And soon enough, we'll be sensing our whole body. We'll have this strong vibrational contact with our whole body. And that brings us very much into this moment and strengthens our presence. Of course, that isn't the whole story. Because as I'm here in my body, as you're here in your body, thoughts may start up. You may start thinking, well, now what? Or thinking about lunch. What about those thoughts? If you float away into your thoughts, if your attention leaves your body, goes on that stream of thoughts, jumps on that train, then you lose this contact with your body, and you're taken away with this chain of automatic thoughts, thoughts that thinking themselves. However, if you stay with your body, stay here in contact with your body, then the thoughts may come. And you can see those thoughts. You can hear them. But you're also sensing your body. And that body anchors you. That sensation anchors you in this present moment so that the thoughts come and go. They pass through like clouds passing in the sky. Like one of those news tickers running across the bottom of your screen. And you stay here in your body, and now also aware of your thoughts. And what if you start to feel something, one of your thoughts kicks off some emotion. You remember how that guy insulted you. And there's this planning of what you're going to say to him next time you see him, or what you wish you had said at the time. Well, that feeling can collapse you right out of this awareness of your body, this awareness of the present. You can just jump right into that or be drawn into it. But if you stay with your body, just like with the thoughts passing, you can see these reactive emotions coming and going. You can see them come. You don't try to stop them, just like we're not trying to stop our thoughts. We just let it all be. And we're here being in contact with our body, in contact with our mind, in contact with our heart. So we're here in the whole of ourselves. Pretty soon, gaps open up in that stream of thoughts. And in those gaps, between those thoughts, behind those thoughts, there is this stillness, this cognizant stillness, which is the root of our mind, the root level, the base level of our mind. Thoughts are on the surface. Automatic thoughts, particularly. The ones that associate, bounce off each other, one after another. But behind that is this quiet awareness, this pure, cognizant stillness. The thoughts don't hide it. Again, they're like clouds passing across the sky. But the sky of your mind, remains. So here we are, in our whole body, and in our whole mind. In this mind, this pure stillness opens up to encompass the whole of us. So now your awareness includes this sensation of your whole body, the thoughts passing through your mind, whatever emotions might be coming up. And it encompasses all that. And you feel whole. Now, this feels like presence. But there's one more element. In fact, the key element, without which the whole thing is just a shell, an empty shell, and without which the whole thing soon falls apart. That element is you. It's who you are. It's who is aware of your body, mind, and heart. It's who is conscious of this consciousness, of this stillness. It's who is hearing this and seeing this. It's the one in you who sees, who hears, who does what you do, who chooses what you choose. It's not your name. It's not anything that could be put into a word. It's beyond words. It's beyond your mind. It's you. In some traditions, this is called the big self, the self. Although we might distinguish between a couple of levels here, the self with a capital S and the big self with all caps. But for us, let's call this our I. When you are here, when I am here, with my whole body, with my whole mind, with my whole heart, with my whole awareness. When I am here, this truly becomes a single, unified whole. Now this I of yours is not something you need to develop. It's not something you build or create. It's not something you have to wait for until it comes down to you. It's already here. You are already here. You've had this at least since the moment of your birth. The issue is that we let this I of ours get hidden, crusted over with our thoughts, emotions, with all these concerns, with all the things we're doing. We're so focused outwardly. And by outwardly, I mean not just what's beyond our skin, this big world around us, this big, beautiful world around us. But outwardly, in comparison to our I, that includes our thoughts, that includes our reactive emotions. It includes our body. Our I is deeper in us than that. But once you start to look behind your thoughts, and then you look at your attention, well, how do I look at my attention? How do you look at your attention? Attention is what looks. Attention is what sees. So the answer is to be your attention. Because what's behind your attention, what's driving your attention is your I. Your I is your will. So here you are. Here I am. It comes out occasionally. Our work of presence is to be in this whole of ourselves and our body, starting with there, starting with our body, because it's so concrete, visceral, organic, in our mind, in our heart, in our consciousness that encompasses all of that. and in our eye. The one in us who's doing all that, who's doing this. The one who's directing our attention, our awareness. To be in our eye. To be ourselves. Really, to be ourselves. Then we're present. We're fully without any quotes, without any compromises. We're here. Totally. Why do that? You'll feel more alive. Try it. Perhaps you already know this. But you do feel more alive. You are more alive. You live more. Each moment has greater richness and depth. You don't live in a drab space. It's vivid. Your life is vivid. You're there for yourself. You're there for other people. You're there. You're there for whatever you're doing. Life doesn't pass you by. So we practice this. We practice it. There are some measures, some metrics that can help us. I learned these from Henry Trey Cole. First one is frequency. So you can count. You can start counting. How many times a day do I come back into contact with my body? Or how many times a day am I fully here? And then set a goal. Today it's going to be X number of times. And I work at that, meeting that goal. Next week, X plus 1 each day. So frequency, how often or how many times a day do we come back to being present? So a measure like that can help us be more experimental, more in a training mode about presence, about our inner work. We count. It's simple. And then we have a direct measure. We get that feedback. And we see how we did today. And we set ourselves to do the same or better tomorrow. And have at it again, starting fresh each morning. Another measure is duration. How long am I present? How long can I sustain this state? In each time that I come to be present, how long am I there? Am I there just as a flash and gone again? Or can I have this anchor in my body keep me here for a few seconds longer, a few moments? So this gives us another channel for our work at presence. Is to work at being present for longer. Before we disappear and then remember again the next time. Another measure is intensity. How strong is this sensation of my body? How alive is this direct perception of my body? How alive is my body? More of that sensitive energy in my body, the more alive it feels. How vividly are you here? How focused are you in this moment on being here? Here I'm not referring to having a focused attention. Attention can be narrowly focused on a pinpoint, or can be broad, taking in all of your surroundings. But now I mean focused on this moment, in this moment, whether narrowly or broadly. How intensely are you in your eye? Are you yourself in this moment? That's the intensity measure. And we can work toward being more or less intensely present. I should add that being intensely present is not the same as appearing intense on the outside. Doesn't mean having a serious look on your face or staring. It's an inward thing. It means being here, wholly, entirely. And the last measure is depth. For this, we need to speak a little bit further. I mentioned earlier about self and big self. Of course, there's the little self, our personality that fools us, our ego that fools us into thinking that's who we are. But I'm not going to go into that any further here. But let's talk about our I. This I that you are, that is who you are. Where does it start? What is its root? If you try to trace it back, you may not find an end point, a beginning point. Instead, you find an opening, specifically an opening to the sacred, to what's higher. Now, maybe you don't believe in God. And maybe you won't agree with what I'm about to say. But I suggest you perhaps take an agnostic viewpoint on this. Maybe, maybe not. Jury's still out. So, here it is. This will of ours, this I of ours, is given to us as an emanation from the divine. The divine is will, the great will of the universe, the great will that creates and sustains this whole wonderful universe. And we, our I, our will, our personal individuality comes from that, is given to us as a particle of that. So when we talk about depth of presence, what we mean is how open we are in our depth that opens to the depths that we share, all of us together, our common root. So these are 4 areas of practice: frequency, duration, intensity, and depth. 4 supports for our practice of presence, which begins with sensing our body, parts and then the whole body. Being aware of our thoughts and our emotional reactions without going away with them, letting our body anchor us. And then opening to this broad awareness, this stillness inside of us. Maybe you'll notice that when you see a person who you feel that they're present, it may seem like there is a stillness inside them, just as there is a stillness in all of us, all the time. Just that we allow ourselves to be caught on the surface with our thoughts, emotions, and all the sensory impressions we're receiving all the time. It's not that we're trying to stop any of that. It'd be a pretty dull life without it. And we're obliged to deal with all of that, just to maintain our body and to meet our responsibilities and obligations. But there is a greater depth, this stillness that's in us, that can be in us while we're engaged with all of this on the outside. In fact, it becomes to where there isn't a separation between the inside and the outside. It's all one. And then there's you, who you really are. Not your name, not even the word I, certainly not your thoughts. But your will, your I that's in you, that sees, that does, that chooses. When you think intentionally, it's your I that's doing that thinking. It's not the thoughts, but it's driving those thoughts. When you say I intentionally, then you are behind that. You are in that sound of I. But it's not the whole of you. You're driving that sound. The sound is not who you are. You may give your will to that sound, so it becomes you for that moment. But you are not that sound. So, please practice presence. Thank you.